Hi everyone, this is Ken DeLong, author of the Economic Comic, and today I'd like to talk with you about the difference between the real economy and the financial economy. So if you listen to the media or to the government, you'd be excused for thinking that the stock market is the same thing as the economy, but it's not. So let's ask ourselves, what exactly is the economy? And I want to talk about, first of all, the real economy. So what do I mean by the real economy? I just mean everyday, ordinary people doing things that benefit each other, like someone's growing apples, which other people like to eat, or someone's building a house, which other people will be happy to live in, or someone's giving haircuts to people that will make them happy. The real economy is just average, everyday, ordinary people doing things and making stuff that has value to other people. And this is how we get through life. Like most of us don't grow our own food or build our own houses or do our own haircuts. We get them from other people. And that's the real economy. So as I go through this little video here, I'm going to draw an analogy to the human body. So if you think about the human body, there's all different types of cells. There's liver cells and pancreas cells and kidney cells and thyroid cells, and they all do their own thing. They all produce certain products or they all provide certain services to the body. Right? Just like in the economy, different people with different skills, the software programmers and the massage therapists and the apple farmers all do whatever it is they do, and then they exchange their outputs with each other to make a healthy economy or a healthy body. Okay, so in order to facilitate this exchange, we use money. Right? I think everyone's heard about the problem of barter. Like if I build houses and you give haircuts and I need a haircut, I can't go out and build a house and give that to you for my haircut. That would be crazy. It would take me, half a year to build a house. And so we use money. That way I can build a house and I can sell it to someone, and then I can take the money that I've earned and I can peel off a little part of that and use that to go get a haircut, and then some to buy apples and some to put gas in my car or whatever it is that I need to do. So money is extremely important in helping us to facilitate the exchange of goods and services, because everybody makes different quantities of things, and some things like a house can't be broken into small pieces, but money can always be peeled down, to the smallest penny. So if we go back to our analogy of the body, what is money in the body? Well, I would call it the blood. The blood is what carries the hormones from the thyroid to the muscles and gives them their energy, and then the kidney filters out all these things, and the liver processes the waste products. And so the blood is what carries all these products and services around in the body and allows the different types of cells to exchange and live harmoniously. Now, in the real economy, besides money, there's other parts of this, what I would call the financial system. Okay, so there's banks, there's bank-to-bank transfers, checking accounts, savings accounts, then there's stocks and bonds and loans and mortgages, and all these things are fine and healthy parts, extensions of the financial system that helps us in managing the exchange of all the things that we're making, all the goods and services. Okay, none of that's a problem so far, but now we get to what I call the financial economy as opposed to the financial system. Sorry for the confusing terms. But now we get into all these crazy Wall Street schemes, right? Like collateralized debt obligations and CDSs and mortgage-backed securities and derivatives upon derivatives and all this other gobbledygook. And the big problem here is that basically people are trading things that they don't own. And not only that, trading them many times. So here's an example. Suppose my neighbor has a nice car. And I say, wow, I could make a lot of money selling that car. When it's not my car, right? But that's okay. I'll just write a nice little sheet of paper that says, I promise to deliver you my neighbor's car if you call this number, and I put my phone number on it, and I sell it to someone. Well, I don't just sell it to some people, one person. I make 10 of those sheets of paper and sell them to 10 different people. All right, now clearly this is a problem, right? But as long as those people don't actually call the phone number and they buy and sell those pieces of paper amongst each other, eventually I'm hoping the purchase price, the current price will fall below what I sold them for. Then I can buy them back. And now I can just keep the spread between what I sold them for at the high price and what I bought them back for at the low price. And that works great as long as nobody calls the phone number, right? If somebody calls the phone number and says, hey, I want the car, all right, now I got to go to my neighbor and negotiate, and hopefully I can buy the car for less than I, quote unquote, sold it for, right? But what if 10 people call at the same time and say, hey, we all want the car. Now I'm in trouble, right? This is what I call the financial economy. And this system is essentially, at its core, unstable because of the way that things are leveraged and people are buying and trading rights to things that they don't actually own. And in fact, that don't even exist. My neighbor only has one car. He doesn't have 10. Okay, so in normal times, the real economy that we all live and work in and love, and the financial economy only connect a little bit. They don't necessarily influence each other that strongly. All right. Getting back to our analogy of the body, what I would consider the financial economy is like blood cancer. It's like a giant tumor sticking out of the person that's sucking up all the blood. It's something that's not supposed to be there. It gets into the financial system and it does things that are unwanted. It does malign things, and it's unnecessary, and it's kind of a perversion of what it's supposed to be. Okay? So we were saying that the financial economy and the real economy don't necessarily overlap completely. There's a small overlapping, but when there's a hiccup in the financial economy, as there always is, because it's built on a completely unstable foundation. It's like a house of cards that's narrow at the bottom and big at the top. There's no way it can stand. It will fall down. When it falls down, it does cause a lot of problems for the real economy. It's almost like the tumor has some kind of problem and it sucks all the blood out of your body and takes it into itself in order to repair itself, which is really the opposite of the way things should go, right? And so what happens when the financial economy breaks down is the government and the Fed run into the rescue. And so as you think about my example with my neighbor's car, so 10 people call to get the car, and I don't even own the one car that actually exists, and I've sold it off 10 times. The Fed comes in and gives me 10 cars. So now I can deliver all the cars and I can start over. And in fact, now I have 10 cars. So now I can sell 100 pieces of paper about the cars. And then when that scheme collapses, the Fed comes in and gives me 100 cars. Now I can sell 1,000. And just every time the Fed runs to the rescue, that new cash gets leveraged up again. So the financial economy, that tumor, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So this weird kind of segregation of the real economy over here and the financial economy as sort of this add-on tumor with only a small connection, it also kind of explains why, with all the money printing we've had in the last 10 or 20 years, that we haven't seen a lot of consumer price inflation in the real economy. Most of that blood is still in that tumor, right? Most of that money is still over there in the financial economy, and it's not really leaking over that strongly. So the pipe is very small. But as that financial economy gets bigger and bigger and bigger with respect to the real economy, you know, if 1% of it's coming over, that 1% is getting bigger and bigger and bigger too. And that's why the real economy is really starting to suffer these days. So you may ask yourself, well, why do the Fed and the government bail out the financial economy? Why don't they worry more about the real economy? That's where all of us are living. That's where we buy our food and our clothes and put gas in our cars, right? But think about it. Think about the people at the Fed and their triple-breasted three-piece suits and their fancy shoes and everything, and all these politicians. Who do they hang out with on the weekends? Who do they go to dinner parties with at night? Right? Wall Street bankers, lobbyists, CEOs, all the people who play in this financial economy, right? They're not going out to dinner with the maid from downtown or the guy who runs the movie theater or their auto mechanic. Right? So they don't really interact with, they live in a fancy neighborhood. They don't really interact with the real economy. They mostly are interacting with people who live in the financial economy. And I really believe they've come to see the financial economy as the true economy. And that the real economy, with all this messy, you know, auto repair and gas stations and restaurants, that's kind of like the bastard stepchild. And they kind of wish it would go away because it's annoying. Right? And you can see this by their actions. I'm recording this in the spring of 2020, where the global health crisis has shown up and caused a lot of problems. And what did the Fed do? Immediately, they pumped like $2 trillion into the financial economy, you know, by 5 p.m. in the afternoon, like no questions asked, just a flood of cash that like the world has never seen into the financial economy. What about the real economy? Yeah, we're going to give you some money in the real economy, but it's going to take a few weeks, maybe a couple months. There's a lot of forms you're going to have to fill out. Only some people are going to be qualified, and the checks are going to be, you know, distributed out over the next several months. Okay, so just by their acts, they They gave trillions within hours to the financial economy. They're giving billions to the real economy, but it may take some months and you have to fill out some forms and, oh, we ran out. Sorry about that. So you can see that they don't really care. And not only that, as that financial economy gets bigger and bigger, that money does leak over into the real economy as the banksters who are working there start cashing out their stock options and selling stock and bringing that cash into the real economy and buying houses and cars and clothing, bidding up prices and taking all the good stuff away because they've got this huge amount of fake money that they've been leveraging and working with over in the financial economy, most of which doesn't exist because it's all leveraged and fake. But they can take little pieces of it out and come over. And when they come over to the real economy, it's enormously large compared to what everybody else has who doesn't play in the financial economy. And that's how they can then use that wealth to build up their actual true wealth by buying huge houses and nice cars. So in conclusion, when you hear people talking about, oh, the economy's doing well, the Dow Jones is up, it's like, well, that's not really correct. And when you hear how great Morgan Stanley is doing and all these Goldman Sachs, you know that that's the financial economy. And when the Fed is rushing to rescue the economy, it's not the real economy they're talking about, it's the financial economy. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little discussion, and I'll see you on the next video.